the show begin. Next generation for the win. We're going all in. All together now, let's begin. Let the show begin.
So we're here in the WIT studio with Eason Jung, Head of Travel Strategic Partnerships at TikTok Southeast Asia. Eason, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
I mean, when we talk about next generation, right? I mean, TikTok is one of those brands that we immediately think about when you think next gen or next gen channels or next gen social media. And I wanted to ask you, like, what is the number one ask from potential partners in the travel industry, OTAs, airlines, when you are contemplating a partnership or they are contemplating a partnership with TikTok?
I love the opening question. We get that a lot. I can be very frank, is our business partners coming in different sizes and different needs.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say there is a one-size-fits-all approach of like the OTA, airline, and the hotel partners. They all have different objective, business and marketing goals.
Right.
But if I want to discuss about the top three, the questions or the challenges they're facing when they work with TikTok or after they understand is, the first one is, how are they going to create TikTok creatives and videos at scale? Because that's not something they are very used to in the past.
Mm-hmm.
When they are working with other platforms, they probably is more about text and a little bit more on, let's say, pictures. Video is long form, but sometimes they just don't get it work on TikTok.
Right.
Especially we talk about how TikTok works is actually very different from other platforms in terms of the very unpolished videos may not work the best here. It's more about the casual, the authentic videos working here.
Yep.
That's number one, creative. Second one is performance. Many of the brands coming to us, they want to get users to either download their app or make a booking on their website. So how can TikTok deliver that performance at scale? At different markets, that's something they're always interested to know. Because at the moment, people always feel like TikTok is a channel for discovery, for get inspired, but the conversion part sometimes is missing. And that's why there is a lot of discussion. We're working with the partner to improve on that.
Right.
And closely linked to that, which is the third one, is measurement. A lot of times they're already running very effective campaigns on the other platforms. How can TikTok value add in terms of bringing incremental bookings or new users, or even just how effective this channel is? So that's the third part, the advanced measurement solutions.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Is there always a sort of, because when you say TikTok, a lot of people think about dancers, lip syncing, there's I would say it's an old stigma that's associated with the platform, right? So do you get a lot of that? Like a lot of people thinking like, what are we going to do with a platform that's just about people dancing to music videos or dancing to songs?
Great questions. Do you use TikTok by yourself?
I used to binge and surf on it through the pandemic.
Yeah.
A lot.
And for now, do you see a lot of teenage dancing and cat videos?
No.
Yes. So exactly that's how it works. At the start, when the community was small and the content was kind of niche to the users, because we are actually very early adopter for the young users. That was probably like 2-3 years ago or even 5 years ago.
Yep.
But now when the users coming on board, we evolve to mass users and the content also get more diverse. So we actually have a lot of different contents. It's not just for pure entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
It's also for educational. And the most part of it, actually a lot of it is like life hacks and practical things.
Right.
So one of the hashtag on TikTok is book talk. So it's actually recommending people like reading books and sharing the book reading reviews. You get like billions of views.
Yeah.
So all these things actually is already coming to a very diverse channel. So the stigma and perception still exists, but we already kind of moving away from that.
Right. And this is, I mean, just to we had a chat offline outside and we spoke about how the nature of search is also changing. So, TikTok and a lot of social media platforms have become the way that the younger demographic sort of searches, right? They don't actually go to search engines and look up anything. So that's another layer that's added to your platform.
Yeah, I was actually sharing on the stage. That's the top trend we actually talk about. TikTok search is really gaining attractions and popularity.
Right.
I actually saw some third-party platform sharing TikTok is already ranked as number 4 search engine globally.
Right.
That's how much intent and users coming to search on it. I can repeat some of the stats. Like 23% of users coming to TikTok, they start searching something within 30 seconds opening the app, which means they actually open up the app with the intent.
Right.
And among all the users, almost 70% of the Gen Z users use TikTok search. And many of them think TikTok is their default search engine as compared to the traditional ways. It's simple to understand because the information is more immersive and it's easier to digest. And you actually get this information, sometimes text and images can't portray those kind of informations.
It's interesting that you said trend because I was going to ask you, my next question was going to be, what is the biggest trend in Southeast Asia that will drive social commerce in travel in 2025?
Biggest trend in Southeast Asia driving travel?
Yeah.
Wow.
On the platform, I mean, like, social commerce wise.
Okay. Yeah. It's also part of what I have been sharing on the stage is like the spontaneous and the impulsive travels.
Yeah.
We realized that on our platform, a lot of users, they don't do a super well-organized and plan ahead long trips. Many of the things happening on our platform is spontaneous. They saw an activity, a concert, a sports event, or even some food, pop-up stores or like nice restaurants. They will immediately make a trip and start traveling like in a more domestic or regional way. And they just book a ticket, go there, and figure out what to do next. The in-destination travel actually is big on our platform. Because a lot of time, maybe we are in Singapore for 3 days after a concert, what are we going to do? Probably go to TikTok to search or discover what's the food, what's the best bars. And a lot, to be honest, I personally use that as well. Like instead of doing a traditional search to see the reviews and pictures, TikTok give me a 20 seconds video of like walking into the bar, what's the vibe and what's the crowd, what are the food is like. I really like it because sometimes when you go to a restaurant with the menu with no pictures. Right. And TikTok really solves that. So these are the in-destination decision making, and spontaneous trips is one of the top trends on TikTok.
It gives it a visual element. It helps to add in visual element. You said that you also use TikTok for that purpose. So when you are scrolling and binging TikTok, is that part of work or?
I do it for both.
Research.
So I actually have 2 accounts on TikTok. So I realized when I was working for work for a lot of times, I kind of getting a lot of work-related content in travel and all this. Sometimes I also have registered a different account for different regions. So I actually get a lot of like other regions content as well. So I kind of get it both, but maybe sometimes I need a line between work and life.
Work-life balance. So before TikTok, you were with Skyscanner. You were also at Google. What are the key lessons that you took from those phases of your career that still guides your strategies here at TikTok?
I really love your questions. Great question.
Thank you.
Yes, I spent quite a fair amount of time with Skyscanner. That's actually my first job. It's a great company with an amazing culture there. I still remember one of the philosophy or value they believe is traveler first, partner second, Skyscanner third. So they always put end user travelers' interest in mind when they doing no matter product decision making or product design or making commercial decisions. I think that's something I still use it until today. So example is in the past, Skyscanner will make sure all the prices is accurate when they redirect to the partner site. So make sure the user experience is the same. So they remove all the dark patterns when people have partner have surcharges. They have like PQS score, partner quality score, to make sure that this partner is like have good reviews. So coming to our current day-to-day job at TikTok, I still withhold that kind of value. It's like, for example, when we are running a campaign with the creative, I always go into the ads manager to look at how the creative look like. If I'm a end users, how do I feel and like about the creative? Is it speaking to me or not? So besides all the numbers and the matrix aside, we always come back to the end users. How is my user experience? That's why we keep using TikTok at work, because when you are looking at these videos, you're not just thinking of end users. You're also looking at how can I make the creative a little bit more engaging. And maybe I can add one more is like working in Google is realizing in our past roles, we are even in the more client-facing role, but we never call ourselves a sales manager. There's a reason for it. We call commercial managers, industry managers, and now client partners, because we always believe that our partnership with our clients is really helping them to solve problems as external consultant. So it's never about like selling ads and these solutions. It's a byproduct. So we really think in the partner's shoes to develop solutions really works for them. So in a way, we always deeply try to understand that what's the client's business objective, marketing objective, and campaign objective.
Right.
So in a way, we can really think in their shoes, help them to resolve problems.
Right.
So I actually telling my team that the best way we get into a state is, what if we join the client's company next day? We should be immediately plug and play and run the campaigns because we know their business so well.
You know them that well.
Yeah.
Right. This is a bit of a chicken and egg situation. And I wanted to get your thoughts, right? Do you think social platforms like TikTok influence social commerce trends? Or does the demand from users influence platforms like yours to incorporate those changes into business? So which comes first? Like, do the users want something and then you incorporate it? Or is it because you incorporate it, then the users sort of be like, oh, okay, I want to use this function. I want to see how this works.
Yeah. So if before all this happening, they may call it a chicken and egg situation.
Yeah.
But for now, when this traction and the trend is already coming up, I will call it's actually a flywheel. It's two sides of the flywheel. I can give you an example. We actually have a trend on TikTok is the transition in travel, skip to the good part. So that started as a trend for people talking about like they are having a mundane life and suddenly transit to the destination to show the good part of life in travel. So once that start happening, then there was a BGM of it and the template come out. So people see that, they are like, okay, that's so cool. I'm going to do it for my next trip as well.
Right.
So people have this idea before they get on the flight. They'll stay already kind of filming them waiting in the lounge and airport. And then the next thing is like they're on the beach or they're on a rooftop bar.
They've got the whole video in their mind already. Yeah.
So do you think this is a chicken and egg? I probably wouldn't say so. I feel like because we have this, more people wants to do it. After they do it, they come and share it again. And this become a trend.
Right. Okay. So the starting point is still you would say still the provider is the starting point.
It comes with organic. Like for example, users have this need, they want to showcase their travel.
Right.
But our platform enable it with the BGM, background music is really like addictive and a very...
It's a dopamine hit.
Yeah, it's a dopamine hit.
Yeah.
And then with some of the template, we have the add-on features, the effects. So you just make things even easier for people to recreate that kind of trend and templates.
Right. Right. Do you think, we talk about travel a lot being, it's evolving, it's changing, so much is happening in the travel space, but a large portion of travel is also traditional and quite conventional in the way it moves, right? Do you think the majority of players in the travel space are aware of the power of social media to their business, or they still think it's not a necessary incorporation into their workflow? Why or why not?
So I think it's fortunate and also unfortunate, but also fortunate that the current situation is not all of the travel players have adopted social platform, social commerce as one of their main strategy. We only have a handful adopters like think social commerce is going to be future and invest into it. The reason is simple. Like, firstly, many of the key decision makers might not be using TikTok themselves. That's one. And it's more like a personal experience and gap, right? Second one is indeed at the start, you need to invest in the time to know how this platform works, how to create good creatives in a way to work on it. And third is the existing ways is already working pretty well. They're going into the search intent, they're delivering ROIs and all this. But the downside is if we keep working with what is working in the past, things just get challenger and more challenger because you actually feel like that kind of channels is very hard to acquire the new users. Which they spend more time on TikTok nowadays. So the question should be, the right question to ask is like, if I want to get more users, I cannot find my existing channels, especially those young users and new users. TikTok should be the right place to be. And of course, at the early stage, you need to invest. You may not see the return immediately, but if you invest in it, you actually can see the rewards coming later.
Right. What is it like being in a very competitive market? There's so many studies out there saying how robust Southeast Asia is when it comes to social media usage and tech adoption. So there's not only TikTok, right? There's so many social media channels, so many social media platforms. And then there are those that sometimes some demographics are not even aware of, like Twitch. You can talk about Twitch to any number of people in a certain demographic, and they're like, no, I have no clue. I don't know what content is on there. What is it like being in a competitive space like that? Because social commerce is booming, and everybody wants to get on the social commerce train. Yeah.
So it really depends on the market and the user segments, right? Twitch probably really cater to those users who are into gaming and streaming.
Yeah.
And right. Yeah. And if you look at even at markets, for example, in North Asia, in Japan and Korea, they have their own more dominant social platform. For example, like Twitter, X is big there, and Korea have their own. I think Line and Kakao Talk, all this, right? So we are not as advanced in North Asia as compared to Southeast Asia.
Right.
In Southeast Asia, our user penetration is really high. In many of those markets, at minimum, we are already penetrating until 60% of the digital population. 6 out of 10 already have TikTok installed and using them on a regular basis.
Right.
Some markets are even like with 80%. For example, like Indonesia and Thailand. So I think we also know that what we should do to play on our strength. So that's why when it comes to solutions or content diversity, maybe in this part of the region we're a little bit more advanced. But of course, like our North Asia is also catching up, as gradually picking up all this, and there is a stage of like market maturity and adoption of it.
Right. You also have a product called Point of Interest. It's a sort of partnership initiative, right? I wanted to know how that translates into the travel scene, one, and also how does that fit into the larger TikTok ecosystem?
Yeah, we got a lot of questions about Point of Interest. It's really generating a lot of interest from the crowd.
Right.
I do find that when we talk about in the past, if you remember last year, we are actually talking about TikTok is take the trick before the trip. So we are more on the upper funnel, getting people to know about inspirational and discovery. But we also share one trend: 73% of the users, they get discovered on TikTok, they book it afterwards, but we only have a fraction of these users attributed to TikTok booking it. So how that works is, in the current user journey, people probably have 20 plus touch points before they make a purchase.
Right.
But most of the current industry norm is they use the last click, last touch attribution. So in a way, those channels get the last touch, get accredited. But TikTok is not good at the last touch. So that's why a lot of times that we're seeing they find this on TikTok, but they book it elsewhere. We actually did a study called post-purchase survey for e-com. Basically how it works is like, for example, if you go to a clinic or go to a massage place, they will ask you, where did you hear us? Right. That's more like a post-purchase survey in a very short form. You will take friends referral, Google Map or TikTok, right?
Yeah.
So in a way, in a digital format, you cannot attribute it accurately. You use post-purchase to do that. So what our study was, in a group of studies, we realized if we incorporate post-purchase survey, many people they find this product or this service from TikTok, and it actually jumped the ROI from TikTok by 4 times.
Okay.
So it shows that we are the more upper funnel, but not the lower funnel.
Right.
But long story short, how this link up to Point of Interest is, as if we are going to the gym, we're building our upper body muscle, we also need to build the lower body muscle.
You cannot skip leg day.
We can't
skip leg day.
Right.
Yeah.
So now is our leg day training.
Right.
So Point of Interest really share with people a complete journey of like, you just get discovered. You can also find a ways to book it and convert on the spot. And that's why we feel like it's the right thing to do for our users. And that's why Point of Interest come into place.
Right. Fantastic. Can we do a quick round of rapid fire questions? Word association. I'll throw a word. Tell me the first thing that comes to mind. Top of mind. First thing that happened.
Sure.
Right. Netflix.
Oh, Netflix and chill.
Netflix and chill. Sustainability.
Sustainability. I actually think our price is the cost. How are we going to achieve that?
Cost of sustainability. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Connected trip.
The way to go.
Way to go. Science fiction.
I'm not a fan of it.
Not a fan of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Asia Pacific.
Up and coming.
Up and coming. Travel essentials.
My chargers. For some reason, I think that's
Yeah.
the first thing I think of. Like, I need to travel.
Yeah. No. Same. Like laptop charger. You have that. So because where are you going to get that if you don't bring it along, right?
Exactly.
Yep. Subscription model.
Still need time to prove it.
Still need to improve it.
Maybe I would say it's like it works for some partners, but sometimes it doesn't work. For example, in TikTok, we just find hard to get into that.
Right. Okay. Last one, 2025.
I really look forward to it.
Ethan, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you. I really enjoying it. Thank you.
Thanks.
They're ready now. Let the show begin. Next generation for the win. We're going all in. Take center stage now. Let's begin. Let the show